right now is to just get to the belt. For most of you people who have been knowing me, I started with MMA and my goal was always to be in the UFC, to be a UFC champion. So I feel like God was kind of giving me like a second chance at this.
Greetings, friends, and welcome to this episode of Beast with Brains podcast. Today, we are going to be talking to a trailblazing woman in MMA who shifted gears and is now focused on her grappling career, specifically at Fight Pass Invitational, where she is 4-0. It is none other than Raquel Canuto, also the owner of Hybrid Jiu-Jitsu here in Las Vegas. So being able to talk with her, it was National Women's Day. That was March 8th. Now it is April 8th when this will be posted. She recently was just coaching at the UFC Apex for a couple of UFC stars that she's been helping train, and they announced that she will be returning to the FPI stage to defend her undefeated streak against. On Thursday, we had Fight Pass Invitational 6.
Yes.
You were on the sidelines this time cheering on your husband to get that win. So what was it like to you? Because Oliver Chauza is definitely a tough test, but were you very confident that he'd be able to get it done?
Yeah, I was pretty confident that he was going to win. I know like Hanato from close, so even people are saying like he showed a different kind of jiu-jitsu. I'm like, yeah, he can do it all, so it's cool. Like I usually get really nervous, but one thing I was like reflecting on is like, this is the 5th show that we've been a part of. And like when I say like our house is like, this is Las Vegas, this is our hometown, this is our crowd. And now like even the UFC Apex, like that's our house. Like we perform well there. We are already familiar with it. So this time I wasn't as nervous for Hanato. I really felt like confident in his skill, but even just that aspect, like he's gonna come here and just do what he does because this is just a normal day for us.
Out of all the wins that he has, because he's an undefeated grappler on the FPI stage, which one's your favorite?
I feel like the FPI 8 was my favorite experience. When he fought PJ, like we love PJ, but it was just like getting that rubber match kind of closed. And we just had such a cool kind of like 2 weeks. We had just bought our house. We both got finishes. I think he got like a bonus for that one too. And then we kind of like got home, jumped in our pool. It was freezing cold, and it was just kind of like a pretty cool experience. It's one of my favorite experiences just in general in jiu-jitsu with him overall.
I love that. And it's so amazing that now you've created this life for yourself here in Vegas, your own beautiful gym, 3 little bullies that I've like always bothered. I'm like he goes her.
I almost brought the puppy here today to see you, but I was like, oh man, imagine me having to like do the interview with him crying.
Achilles is so cute. Yeah. He's like the epitome of a bully. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And then now you also bought the house, and I know that's such a big deal because you came here in Vegas. You were just visiting. You were supposed to stay a month, and then you were like, I need to make the commitment. Really knowing that many people, just having a guest room. So can you talk about just this evolution of the life that you've literally made for yourself here in Vegas?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because just even being like from Hawaii, it's so hard to get ahead there. It's so expensive. Even my family, like we have a big family home, but everyone kind of still lives together because I think like the medium price for a home there is like 1.2 or 1.4 million or something at that place at this time. And it's like you get a really small house. So it's like very hard to just get ahead there. So for me, like when I talk about being able to make it, like just being able to live from what I love, being able to like buy a house, be able to even just buy groceries. Like it's so hard to even like buy groceries in Hawaii. Like you go to the store, it's like, like $10 for a gallon of milk. I heard it's a crazy amount for like a dozen eggs, So it's been kind of surreal to even just do simple things like when we bought the house, I was like, for people, it's like a simple thing. Like, oh, it's just the next evolution in life. It's like buying a house or buying a nice car. Like, it's very hard to do that when you come from the places like Hanato and I both come from. Like, nobody really owns homes. Nobody really has nice cars. So it's been pretty surreal to know that, like, even if my process was a little slower than others and made a lot of mistakes, I kind of had to go step by step. Las Vegas really, like, provided me, like, my dream life. And so, I'm very rooted in my culture back at home, but Las Vegas is my home too, and I feel that I have 2 places that I really love.
I love that, and I know that it's probably very easy to miss Hawaii at the same time, but it's so amazing, like the energy that you've cultivated amongst the team that you have here, how they always come out to the Fight Pass Invitationals, but then they're also on their own journey. Like you have some really top-notch competitors. So could you name a few that people should keep an eye out for?
So we have a few guys. We just got a new addition to our team, or we got 2 new additions to our team, but like a couple of months ago, this guy, his name is Shane Rogers, he moved here from like the middle of nowhere in like Virginia, I think. And he's been such like a great addition to our team. So he's planning to compete a lot more, and he's really good. He's very well-rounded, and it's pretty cool to see like how far he's gotten without like without like being in a place where there was like high level competitors or coaching, because he came here really good, and he's like being able to grow quickly. So I think that he's someone to look out for. And we just got, it's pretty funny about this person, because he, like when he came, it was like everyone kept congratulating us that he was here. And I'm like, dude, he just moved here, like, but it felt like we got like the #1 draft pick when Adam moved here. So we also have Adam Warzinski here now. So he moved his whole family out here, and I think that their plan is to be in Las Vegas. Like they want to buy a house here and stuff too. They really love Las Vegas. So having him here has been amazing too. He's really like brought something different to the room, where we're just, I mean, we're very respected here, but after a while it's just like Coach Raquel, Coach Hanato. So having like another high level competitor coming into here that's winning everything, I feel like it's kind of leveling everyone up, you know, it's kind of shaking up the gym. And we have like a couple other girls in the UFC that are training here now, Gianni Barboza and Vanessa. They're also fighting on April 5th. So we have kind of like a mix of people coming in and out of here.
What's up, guys? It's Raquel Canuto here. I just got done coaching Gianni Barboza. She got a first round submission. It was amazing. I will be back on FPI 11. I am fighting Ana Veira May 29th on UFC Fight Pass.
Up too.
And you mentioned in there, it's just, you know, it's better than having just Raquel Hanato here sometimes. That is so like untrue, because it's so amazing learning from you. I went to a few of your classes, and I love how hybrid jiu-jitsu, like you took into consideration the fact that you guys really are like a hybrid mix of your jiu-jitsu style. And I think it's so funny when like you and Hanato compare each other, and you're like, well, who's more of a submission hunter? And you're like, but get competitive. But it's so funny about how having the hybrid jiu-jitsu brand, how do you bring that to life with your guys' styles?
Yeah, so when we were trying to find the name, it's kind of funny because we really like the name Roots, but then like this was like a conversation we had from the very beginning of our relationship. We're like, oh, if we have a gym someday, Roots would be a pretty cool name, like Roots Jiu-Jitsu, because it's very rooted in our family, like martial arts. His dad is his coach. His dad is like a 4th degree black belt. My dad's won the first ever like MMA event, first two ever held in Hawaii. So he's known as a pioneer for MMA. He's a state champion wrestler, even arm wrestling, like did karate. So it's very rooted in our I feel like in our DNA, you know, even just culturally in Hawaii. So we really like that name, but by the time we opened the gym, there was like a few schools already with the name. So we spent kind of 2 weeks like, man, what are we gonna do? We're trying to find all these names. We didn't really want to put our name on the gym, where, you know, we wanted it to be somewhere where people come and it's not like Canuto Jiu-Jitsu, or feeling like they have to represent our last name. Does that make sense? So then when we were trying to find something, it was like we're running through all these names. It's kind of ironic, like we were on our way here and we went to Starbucks to get coffee, and someone like reversed out and the car had like the little hybrid logo on it. And we literally like locked eyes at the same time, and we looked at each other. We were like, hybrid. We were like, that's the name, hybrid. It's you're different, I'm different. You know, we were kind of just started going. I was like, I have a wrestling base, you have a judo base. I started with MMA. You know, we were just like, we bring so many, you know, gi, no gi, Hawaii, Brazil, different cultures, and even it represents like everyone else's jiu-jitsu too. So that was kind of how the name came about. We were like, yeah, hybrid is the perfect name for this gym, because it represents everyone that comes through here. It's not just us, and even just our styles. I have a more like tight kind of game, where Hanato's a little more loose. Not that we both can't do either. But it was just that, like, okay, that's a perfect name for us. And I feel like in our teaching styles, even I'm a little bit more serious, a little more organized. Hanato's more free flowing, and his class might start 5 minutes late and might start 10. You know, he's a lot better nowadays, but mine's just kind of on time. So we're both very different, and I feel like that kind of energy has balanced the gym too. And we've kind of both met in the middle, where I used to be a lot more stricter. He used to be a lot more easygoing, and he kind of realized like he does need to be a little bit more organized and strict, and I can be a little bit more relaxed. So yeah, I feel like we have a pretty good balance.
That is such a good balance. Yeah. Literally, I love it so much. When you think about how your training partners have been able to prepare you for all of the things that you're preparing for, but mainly Fight Pass Invitational, I feel like, because like you said, you're making it your home. The symbology of being the queen of the UFC Apex for Fight Pass Invitational is key. So tell me about what has been the focus for you, because I know you also love the gi, but I know Fight Pass Invitational was like a lot of no gi. So tell me about your focus for this 2025 year and your goals.
So my goal, you know, this year, I'm 34 right now. For the last couple of years, you know, Hanato's younger than I am, but I'm getting older. So we really want to start a family. And I've always said, once I have a have kids. I just want to be a mom. I don't want to be trying to chase my dream still. So I wanted to kind of do it all first. So last year was supposed to be my last year, and I was like, okay, at the end of the year, I'll retire. You know, at the time, my idea was like, okay, I'm going to try and do ADCC. Hanato's going to try to do ADCC too. You know, whether we got invited or I had to win a ticket to it. And after, you know, August, September, we'll start trying to have a baby. But then I did the first FPI, and that was in the beginning of March. It was actually to the date. I think it was March 6th or March 5th. So it was like 1 year to the date of this last event. And once I got there, I was like, okay, this is where I want to be. And I think 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, there was supposed to be the trials. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. I was like, I think I'm just going to invest my time here. And I want to finish my career here. I kind of still was maybe playing with the idea of doing the gi worlds. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to just stay here, you know, and then they brought Hanato on too. So we kind of just started like, you know, event by event, building our name in there. So then at the end of the year, there are some things that are going on that we can't really talk about just yet. But they kind of gave us this opportunity that I was like, okay, and they know what my goals are too. Like they know that I want to have a family as well. So they're like, look, we can go year by year, but like, what do you want to do? Like how many times do you want to fight? And I was like, my goal right now is to just get to the belt. For most of you people who, you know, have been knowing me, I started with MMA and my goal was always to be in the UFC, to be a UFC champion. So I feel like God was kind of giving me like a second chance at this. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to see this through. If you guys are saying that you guys are going to be putting belts, I'll at least give like another year or a year and a half to this. So that's my goal. Long answer to, you know, to that long explanation for the answer is this year I really want to just get to the belt. That's my goal, is get to the belt, maybe defend it once or twice, see how I feel. I'm just taking it match by match. And I kind of jokingly said I want to win 2 belts. You know, so I was like, I want to be a champ, and then I'm going to retire and have some kids. But my focus this year is just getting to that belt because I know they're going to be doing that soon.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people that are eyeballing that UFC grappling belts.
Yes.
And I think there's definitely an aspect of having to earn it specifically on the Fight Pass Invitational stage. There's so many different promotions that people go to, but when you are here in Vegas and you're here every day bringing that energy, the hybrid crew is always the loudest crew in the building. And so I felt like at the last event, I felt like even the Fight Pass Invitational 8 had really high energy, but I've seen some of the other ones from the beginning days of Fight Pass Invitational, and it was just beginning, so it wasn't super big, but you guys always bring the energy. So tell me, what is it that you think the value is of you and Hanato coming, bringing that energy, and also bringing the action that's so exciting in the submission highlights that we need?
You know, I feel like, one, this is our hometown, but like you said, like we have a pretty big community here at Hybrid, and they all want to come out and support us. Like the problem is that the space isn't big enough to hold everyone. So they release just a handful of tickets, and we kind of buy it out as soon as possible. But if you don't get it, you don't get it, you know. But our students love being there. I feel like we have such an amazing community, and like the culture here is like so supportive. So that's why it's so loud. But I feel like as this is growing, we also knew that our job was to bring people. Like, okay, if we want this to work, we have to be like, not just selling ourselves, but selling the event to Dana and selling the event to Hunter so that they keep wanting to be putting it on and investing time into it, right? Because at the end of the day, like Jiu-Jitsu is still growing. And if they only have, I don't know how many seats, like 200 or 300 seats in there. I don't know how much people they can have in there. But I'm like, we need to be making sure like it's loud, that they see how exciting Jiu-Jitsu can be, from our performance to our walkout to people cheering. So our team has been awesome in helping us to do that. And I feel like as a whole, it's been able to kind of sell our brand as the, you know, that Canuto duo.
I feel like a lot of people were mentioning your name after their big wins. We had Brianna, Ste-Marie, we had Helena, Crevar. I guess she didn't really name anyone, but then
they try to egg her on, you know.
So what was your reaction, kind of being there, watching that?
Yeah, well, I already know that people have been asking for me, and that, you know, like it doesn't offend me because I know now for sure that not only I think that I'm the #1 featherweight in the you know the FPI, but other people are seeing it too, and they want that spot. So that's natural, you know. I've never really been in this position, but it's kind of like, okay, I did kind of proclaim myself as the queen of the FPI. I'm the only one here with 4-0, and I also have 3 submissions. So I feel like, you know, everybody's going to be coming for that spot, and it's okay. Like, I don't take offense to them asking for me, but at the same time, I'm like, this is the UFC, so they're going to make you earn your spot there. You know, it's not like other promotions where, like, the UFC is totally separating themselves from everyone else. You know, so it's like they're not gonna it's not like anyone can come and just fight for a UFC belt. They've got to earn their spot to the belt, you know. So I feel the same way. If they want to come to me, all you good girls, go cancel each other out, you know, then you guys can come and try to take my spot.
I love it. And what would you say is your favorite match that you've had at the Fight Pass Invitational?
My favorite match was with Gabby. You know, we fought before, once in the gi, once in no gi. So it was kind of funny because we kind of were having a rubber match as well. That was the same time Hanato fought and was having a rubber match too with PJ, I believe, right? It was the same night. But I was having like some really bad health issues at that time. And I really wasn't feeling well. So a few people were like, man, you looked a little lost in there. I was like, I was lost. Like I was having extreme brain fog for weeks and weeks. Woke up that day with a fever and I was just not feeling well. So I felt like that was my favorite match because I really had to dig deep to get that finish because she had definitely won regulation. So that was kind of my favorite moment was that, like getting that finish, finding, you know, I went to the corner and Hanato was like, there's a picture of me kind of just like lost. And Hanato, all I remember him saying is like, run right through her. He's like, now is the time for a score, run right through her and find her back. And I was like, yes, coach. Okay, let's do it. You know, so I did just that. And that was kind of like a, you know, because I was at a risk of losing in that match. Like had I not scored or even if it was an even, they consider both the regulation and the overtime. She definitely would have won because she had 8 minutes of being ahead of me in regulation. Yeah.
And you have an all-American wrestler background from when you were in high school. Do you feel like some of that ability to push through is from the roots that you set in wrestling? Or is that something you kind of grew over time through your MMA career and jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I think it's something that I grew over time, but also like what people don't realize, like when I look back at it, you know, I started with wrestling, but, you know, I just don't wrestle as much anymore. Just, again, getting older, not being able to do a lot of the same things that I used to do. But I realized like quickly, I'm like, okay, I need to start wrestling more. But also with that said, like in the regulation, I'm not really caring about getting taken down. Gabby had a really good game plan because I knew she would try to shoot. So I wanted to go to the guillotine, but she kept pulling her head out. And that was something that I fixed for the last match. But yeah, I feel like, you know, just being even just Hawaiian, the way that we were raised, kind of just that toughness, you know. But yeah, I definitely feel like it's something that I've learned to be over time. When I was younger, I was very like self-conscious, very timid, very shy, quiet. I kind of grew into, you know, the person that I am today.
And I saw that your dad also, you mentioned also that he did MMA, but also boxing.
Yeah, my dad fought MMA. When he was younger, he did some boxing too, but he never did it like professionally or anything. Yeah, he did fight MMA professionally though. I think he has like a record of like 11-1 or something.
So was he the one that kind of got you involved in combat?
Yes, but
wrestling?
Yeah, but I was the least likely to make a life of this. I was super uncoordinated. Everyone like laughs when I say this, but I was very unathletic. You know, like I was a little bit dizzy. I was kind of that child that everyone was a little worried about. But yeah, no, yes, you can ask my family. Like it's kind of like a running joke that they can't believe that I became like a professional athlete. My brother was like playing at a Division I school and starting on a full ride scholarship, playing football. Like everyone else was very smart, very athletic, and I was just kind of like the awkward middle child. Yeah, so I started wrestling just in 10th grade. My dad didn't let me wrestle when I was younger because I was really that bad at it. Yeah, but then for me, I just wanted to do, like, I wanted to be like my dad. I wanted to be like my brother. So I went out in 10th grade. And even just my high school career, I really didn't do that well. I did like win some big things, but it was more like I had a lot of heart and it wasn't really like the skill just yet. I just kind of knew how to push through and keep fighting. And then I wrestled in college. I was an All-American in college. But even that, it was like, I would beat the girls in the wrestle-offs, but because I didn't have as much experience as the other girls, they would still let the other girls wrestle. So when we went to the nationals, I was so upset about that I was like, okay, I was in Olympic weight, but there were the girls that was like on the senior teams and still competing, doing well, like on that circuit to like maybe be going to the Olympics. I was in an Olympic weight class, and I got 4th place in the nationals, but it was basically just being upset, like, man, I keep winning these wrestle-offs, but you guys are not letting me wrestle. You guys are still letting the other people wrestle. So when I went there, I was one of the only ones that placed, and all the other girls that they were putting ahead of me didn't even place. So it was just, I feel like me just always kind of being the underdog and wanting to not even prove myself to anyone else, but like prove it to me that I could do better. You know, so I had a very slow build in my career, like even through MMA or through jiu-jitsu, through wrestling, but just keep being relentless and just prevailing, you know.
It's amazing that I feel like your story is going to come full circle.
Yeah.
Like your dream at one point was to be UFC champion.
Yeah.
And I know Maggie Granddaddy was kind of similar in the fact that she wanted to go to the UFC too.
Yeah,
But
she
now
never fought MMA though. I think she never fought MMA. I think she just had the want to maybe do it, but she just only did jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's in that aspect, it's like very different. I have 16 MMA fights.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you fought like some of the biggest names in women's MMA.
Yeah.
And that's just incredible. Before it really hit the like wave of 2015
Yes.
too. So like you were doing it because you like MMA and because you're a badass.
It was literally when Dana said, women will never be in the UFC. And I was still like, no, we will be someday. You know, that was when the Strikeforce days, when Gina Carano was fighting against Cyborg, and I've been fighting since back then. You know, so even when people are like, oh, why did you take so many hard fights? I'm like, those were the only girls you could fight. You couldn't choose someone else, you know? Like, it's like, hey, you want to fight Amanda Nunes on 8 days notice? I'm like, yes, I'll do it, you know?
Oh my
so it's
gosh.
like, there were nobody else to fight, you know? Back then, the pool was so small. You know, so that's how long ago I started fighting.
Oh my gosh. At
Yeah.
that point, like, how much did you know about Amanda Nunes?
No, you
She's
know,
still like coming up.
no,
obviously.
she was already 6-0 or 6-1 or something like that. I feel like she had one loss, and that was on Invicta 2. So I had already kind of heard about like that. They had this all women's show, and they had called me last minute to fight, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. You know, I'll do it. Like, now when I think about it, I shouldn't have done it, but it was my way in, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, granted I lost, but it was still like a great experience, and it showed me like where I need to be, what I need to do. And you know, shortly after that, I made the move here. I think it might have been the next year. Yeah, but it was like winning and losing, every experience was good for me.
And I love it because, like I was saying, it was you doing it because you like to fight. Whereas like after 2015 and things blow up and you get social media, like a lot of people sometimes will fight because they want the glamour of it now.
And
you
it's
know?
not glamorous at
Yeah.
all. You know, it's not glamorous at all. And it's funny because like Hanato, he has wanted to do this since, he grew up in martial arts, judo, jiu-jitsu. He's been doing it since he was 8 years old. He also used to do Muay Thai, but he just keeps kind of pushing. He's been trying to get a fight. People will take the fight, pull out. So it's just not been working. Then now jiu-jitsu is doing better. So, you know, he's like, okay, he's also feeling like, oh, maybe God is telling me like to stay here on this path. But he also has that idea where he's like, you know, I have so much respect for MMA. It's not something easy to do. Like, I'm not going to say like, hey, I'm going to be the best and I'm going to, because you just never know. But I feel like some people, they just have no clue, you know? So even when he's like getting ready for his first fight, he's like, I have to go in there and get punched for real for the first time to know like if I'm really made for this. And I believe he will be, you know? But I feel like people think it's so glamorous and it's so cool to be this tough guy. I'm like, it's not at all. You're broke for a very long time until you get your next big break. You're struggling for a lot of it too. And it's hard, like keeping up with the training, you know, it's really hard. It's so much stuff all day long. Your body's broken. And so it's not glamorous at all.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Jiu-jitsu hobbyist level is enough for me. And then jiu-jitsu athletes a whole nother level, and then MMA is another level.
Yeah.
You mentioned that Hanato is going to be fighting in
Yes.
Tough Enough coming up.
Yeah.
So how exciting is that for you? And also to be able to see him be in this like great time of his life where he's not contractually obligated by a promotion that
sure.
might not be, you know, wanting to give him the opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like everything happens exactly how it's supposed to be. You know, because last year he was supposed to debut in Toughen Up, but the person pulled out, and then you know he started fighting in Jiu-Jitsu again, and like everything kind of took off. But it's kind of like came like a full circle because now I feel like he's building his name in Fight Pass, and there's like a very big. Like not hype around him, but just like an attention around him, which he definitely deserves, you know? So I feel like now, you know, Tough Enough was like very excited to have him, and they're doing more press for him, and they want to build him, which I'm very happy for because he's been a part of like this community for so long, and I feel like he's never really had the respect that he deserved or that he earned, not even deserved, but that he earned. So I feel like right now, like, the UFC and even the Fight Pass team and Tough Enough, they're really like doing their best for him, and I'm happy for that. I'm nervous, you know, I'm going and getting punched. Jiu-Jitsu is super hard. That's one thing I do want to kind of make it clear when people think like, oh, Jiu-Jitsu is not a fight. I'm like, no, Jiu-Jitsu is a fight. Coming from someone who has had 16 fights, Jiu-Jitsu is a fight. If I'm going in there and they can break my arm and they can break my leg and they can, like, these things happen more in Jiu-Jitsu than it happens in MMA. Like, getting punched doesn't mean it's a fight. You know, if I can go into a street fight and take you down and freaking put you to sleep or break your arm or something. The same thing, you know. So what was I going to say? I'm getting a little bit lost, but I'm nervous to have to be watching him maybe getting punched or maybe getting kicked or doing something new. But I think it's going to be good. You know, I'm going to be excited to see him, seeing this dream through.
Yeah, and I know that he'll probably be focused for MMA up until, like, it's not officially announced if he's doing FPI 11, but it has been announced that you'll be doing FPI 11. And then they also had Fionn Davis that's on there, but they haven't made it official with Adele and her rerunning it back. So in your eyes, what do you think is like the coolest fight that you could have?
Right now, that's where we were kind of struggling. We kind of set ourselves on one match, and then, we had a meeting the next day and they brought a couple of other people. So it's just like matches that have to make sense, but also in that aspect of I'm already 4-0, so who are we going to bring in to fight? Like, is it going to be someone new? Is it going to be someone already in it? It's also the same weekend as the World, so some of the girls are not going to be available too. So that's kind of where we're at right now. It's like, okay, we kind of decided someone, but I think we're going to talk again this week to kind of figure out a name.
Awesome. Well, we cannot wait to hear that announcement. When it comes to your jiu-jitsu journey and just being a woman inside the MMA and jiu-jitsu community, what would you say is the most important things to look for when you're looking for a new gym as a female jiu-jitsu practitioner? Yeah,
you know what, for not even just for females, but even for men in general, like just people in general, but I do have like some specifics for women. But I think like you have to find your community. I never feel offended when people come here and they, like for the most part, people usually end up signing up and they love it. You know, I do feel like we have a very special thing here, but whenever people come and they see like Hanato and Raquel and they're like, oh, I want to come here and train, I always tell them like, please, like, oh, I'm going to try other gyms. I'm like, please try other gyms. You guys got to find like the community or the coach or even just like the schedule that works for you, you know? So I always encourage people, like, go try a bunch of places. Even if I'm just talking to other people that are moving, I'm like, you don't have to go to my friend's gym because you might not like them. You know, they may not have the teaching style for you. I feel like here it's cool because I have a very different teaching style than Hanato, so you kind of get two different teaching styles. But I feel like just finding someone that you can learn well from, finding a community of people. Like if you go there and you feel like, oh man, everyone is super nice, I feel safe here, I don't feel like people are trying to just green light me the whole time, that's also important. But as a woman, I feel like when you come in, if there are a lot of other women and they have like they have a welcoming feel to them, I feel like that's important for women. Or even just kind of like seeing like how just everyone interacts with them, you know, like because I'm a head coach here, I'm always like, hey girls, make sure there's another girl coming, this is her name, please welcome her, say hi to her, I'll partner them together, you know, so they know like when another woman comes in, like they're grabbing them and like, hey, you're one of us, come here, you know. And even for the men, I'm always like, hey guys, make sure you guys are taking care of the girls. So I feel like that's kind of good things to make sure that they're there to take care of you and support you and help you, and not there to like, you know, unfortunately, it's not just a jiu-jitsu thing, it's just across the board. It's just a life thing. Like you're gonna hear about it in every sport. Just making sure that you're not there, like people's just trying to date you and, you know, do those things too. So just making sure you feel safe and you feel comfortable.
And what would you say is some red flag, maybe not red flags necessarily, but reasons why you should be moving on to another gym? Because I know you switch and like you don't have to get into details about your own personal experiences with that, but like what would you say from your experience as a general fact, like if you're not growing at a particular gym, you know it's time to move on to a different one maybe?
Yeah, you know, my husband and I were talking about this because it was just kind of a topic that was coming up with someone else yesterday. It's like having good leadership. You know, like if you have a good leader in your gym, or if you have, or any place, like in your workplace, like leadership is very important. So I feel like whenever a gym or a place lacks good leadership, and when I say good leadership, it's not like leadership with authority, but leadership with understanding, with knowing that you're dealing with hundreds of different people. Everyone's going to be learning differently. Everybody's going to need different things. I know that I can push this person, but I can't really push this person. I can joke with this person, but I can't really joke with that person. This person is just here to train for fun. This person wants to be a competitor and be a world champion. You can't treat everyone the same. Right? You kind of have to be flexible and be able to adjust to what everyone needs, which is very hard for us too. You know, sometimes it is very exhausting to do that. But I feel like when you're not getting what you need, like, or even if you've communicated with them, whether it's a schedule or direction or coaching or maybe harder training, or even for us, like we only train with our students, and luckily now we do have a lot of good training, but for a long time we were like, okay, we don't really have training. How can I adjust my training? Like if your coach can't even help you to figure those things out, it's okay to leave. You know, I don't like the idea of being like, oh, it's loyalty, and it's because at the end of the day, you're a paying customer. You're an adult that is free to do whatever you want to do, you know. So for the most part, I feel like we do a good job of that. We try to help everyone, but then there's just some people that don't really want to be helped, and if they don't want to be here, like just go, you know, find somewhere that's going to be better for you. Does that answer your question?
For sure.
Yeah.
And it kind of brings me to the topic of teams in general and how we're in an era of team jiu-jitsu. I know you're really focused on Fight Pass Invitational stuff, but Polaris did announce that they're going to be doing a team event. So do you, when you see stuff like that, are you like, oh, well, that would be kind of cool to do a team event? Because I'm sure you haven't really experienced that in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, so with saying that, the first time I think it was the first time I met you was PGF.
Yes.
I wasn't even competing. It was the most stressful week of my life. I feel like I became like the unofficial coach of the team because like they had coaches, but they were not really spending time with them. I was in the back, like really wanting the team to win. And we were always trailing. Yeah, like we were always trailing behind. And that was literally the most stressful week of my life because I felt so invested, and I was so excited, and I was like really wanting the team to win. I was trying to figure out the numbers and the points, and okay, we need you to do this, we need you to do this. It was so freaking stressful because it's like 5 different people. It's, you know, even if you had a really good team, like are they getting submissions, the style of the matchups or the format. So I think it's cool, but I don't think it would be for me. I was like, after that experience, I'm like, do not put me on a team because I got to depend. I like this sport because I can only depend on myself. I don't want to have to depend on other people to make all of this money, you know, because you see some of the teams that they put together in PGF, it's great teams, but if they're not getting submissions, they're not going to win the money, you know, so I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I think I'm good at the team stuff.
I know, it's definitely like the trend in 2025.
Yeah, it
sure.
is cool though. It's definitely cool though. I think it's pretty enjoyable to watch, but just having to deal with that stress for 5 days is like, no, not for me.
Yeah, and I know now CJI is kind of pivoting towards teams, and Hanato was in the inaugural CJI.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be happening for him? Like, do you think it might be like a misfits opportunity, or like, are you guys kind of negotiating like a hybrid team?
I think we're just going to be focused on FPI. Yeah.
That's good. That's definitely good because there's plenty of opportunity, but FPI is like really growing. The sport and has big plans.
Yes, and again, like people, like jiu-jitsu is still like, even as it's becoming a professional sport, it's still very amateur, you know. So it's like, you know, just little things. I had a MMA career that didn't do well because I took the wrong fights, and I didn't, you know, even just like find a team that I could put everything together. I was doing, and in Vegas it's very hard, and MMA is like that in general. You have a coach here, you have a coach there, you have a coach there. So I did a lot of things wrong in my career. Now I am starting to manage some athletes, and I don't want to take a lot of athletes. I want to be able to just take a handful that I can do a really good job for. But I have been changing my mindset, you know, especially running a business and just having to make like hard decisions. I'm kind of switching my mindset now as a manager, where I'm like, okay, what are all the mistakes I made? And what am I seeing? So even like while I was in the back at FPI and I'm seeing the matchups and I'm seeing who's winning and who's losing, who's having their debut against someone really hard. And it's like people have that mentality where they're like, I'm not going to say no to a fight. I'm like, you should say no to fights. Because if this is your profession, taking the right fights is what's important too. You know, so you have to make the right choices. So especially right now, like the UFC only does everything one way. And that's to just kill the rest of the game. You know, they have the media behind it, they have the funds behind it, they have even just the viewers and just everything behind it, right? So it's like if you want to do a good job, like you got to be thinking about the whole picture, you know. So even for Hanato and I, it's like being a part of FPI allowed us to do things like buy a house, to buy a better car, to just do way more things. And it's like, if I want to make my name in here, I just want to focus on one thing.
Yes, you know? It's definitely the promotion to commit to, I feel like, because it's just the beginning, and it feels almost like we're in the UFC 1 phase, but with grappling. So it's nice to be a part of that. And now we have UFC 313 coming up, which she's going to have to get ready for in a bit. So what fight are you most excited for on that card?
So the only reason I had asked for tickets is because I'm like, on my bucket list is to be able to sit in the crowd and chant Shama. So I'm excited for that match. I am excited to see Justin Gaethje fighting live too. He is such a badass, and he always puts on a good show. But I'm very excited to sit there and just Shama. I want to see Poltan fighting live. That's something that's on my bucket list in life. So I'm super excited for that match.
I love it. And can we get a shout out to the doggies that you have? I know
yes,
some
my
of the
babies,
names.
Anela, Arona, Achilles, they've been so upset. They've been acting out this week because we've been so busy. We've not been able to spend enough time with them. But, the only reason we were doing all of this was to buy them a yard. And to now, so, the joke was we talk for the dogs. So they're like, Dad, when he came home, like, Dad, did you win? Okay, so now we can make the yard nicer. So that's kind of the next goal for the next couple of weeks, is making the yard a little bit more comfortable for the dogs. But shout out to my dogs. They're the reason we are pushing so hard at the moment till we have human kids.
I love that. And I love how you mentioned that Fight Pass Invitational has been the reason that you've been able to get the house, get a new car. And I think it was so cute that so many guys from Fight Pass Invitational posted their little airport arrival, and they have someone waiting for them with their name. Guys like princess treatment too. And when you go to UFC Fight Pass, they treat you like a professional.
Yes, they do. Yes, and that's Hanato. He went to go do his media the day that he went to talk to you, and he said it was pretty cool to see how excited a lot of the girls were. And he was like, I kind of mentioned to him, it's it's so cool. All of this is so cool, but you just feel stable. Mm-hmm. And I'm and I was like, yeah, it's true. You just feel stable. You have something that that is not going to go away, where a lot of events will come and go. And, sometimes you're not getting treated well enough or not getting paid well enough. So yeah, I feel right now, Jiu-Jitsu is in such a good place. And, for everyone who is out there, be ready,
And I know that you're a big supporter of Fionn Davis.
Yeah,
so I know,
her.
but that could potentially be a matchup for you in the future, no?
Well, I know that she's doing 125. I'm kind of hey guys, let's do a 135 division. I love, I don't want to sound like everyone calling people out. I'm not calling anybody out, but I do think that would be so cool to have one of my end of career fights against her, because she and I have never fought. But if it comes to that, where maybe they make a 35 belt, or I don't know if I could make 125, but if that's a potential matchup, I would, you get to fight one of the GOATs of not even our generation, but I think of forever. That would be amazing.
Yeah, we can definitely see you at 135. I think she wouldn't mind being at 135 as well. You have too much muscle to cut. We don't need more Raquel cutting anymore. This isn't MMA, but thank you so much. Do you have any sponsors or people that you're working with that you want to give a shout out to?
Just everyone here at Hybrid. They're kind of our driving force right now. So thank you to everyone. Thank you for always supporting us, being understanding, being patient with us. ATH Organics, I've been with them since they were mixing their stuff in their garage over 10 years ago. So they've blown up and done pretty well. And I'd like to thank myself.
Yes, girl, you're the person that.
And Venom, also Venom. I've been with them for I think 8 years now. So Venom as well.
I love that. I saw on your website, are you plant-based?
So I have, it's so funny you're asking me this right now. I've been plant-based since 2019. But then Hanato kind of jumped ship on me after 2 years. For the last few years, I've been still making 2 dinners, making 2 lunches, and trying to do my best. Plant-based is not a vegan diet. For a while, we were doing a plant-based, whole food plant-based diet where it was vegan, no animals. But then I started kind of eating fish and stuff. And it's just been a little hard to keep continually spending so much time making 2 meals. So just 2 weeks ago, I started incorporating a little bit chicken and stuff in my diet, which is still plant-based. Plant-based is not vegan. It's just having a diet based mainly on plants. But I'm going to see how I feel. And if I feel okay, I might kind of continue to be eating a little bit of chicken and meat.
I love it. Yeah, no, I tried the vegan stuff too, a few years ago, but wasn't for me.
Yeah, and it's okay if it's not, because the thing is, it works really well for me. I don't do well with red meat. I don't do well with oil. So I know that whole food plant-based diet, it really works well for me, but it's just been a lot of work to be managing 2 diets.
So is it a lot of tofu and tempeh for you, or is it more beans?
Beans, a lot of vegetables, fruit, legumes, I was fully I was not doing any meat replacements, or I would eat some tofu and stuff here and there, but it was really eating a whole food plant-based diet.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I might have to take notes from that, because Heather Gracie as well, the PGF co-owner. She's completely vegan too, and she's really muscular and stuff. And I'm oh my gosh, okay, well maybe there's something to it.
You just gotta do it the right way. And again, if your body, for Hanato, he didn't feel great on it. He felt good, but he felt his body works exactly like it has to. So he was having to eat over 4,000 calories a day, and it was a lot to keep up with for him. He still felt like he was like, a lot of his injuries happened during that time. So he was like wondering if maybe that had to do with it. For me personally, it worked well for me. So I feel like everyone, you know, has a diet that works for them.
Yeah. Very cool. We cannot wait to see Raquel Canuto back in action for Fight Pass Invitational 11. Thank you so much, Raquel.
Thank you.
Taking time out of Saturday. If you enjoyed that interview, be sure to check out this one.